Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Belmont Park here on Saturday. It is the 5th of June 2021. It's Belmont Stakes Day, and I'm going to look at all the stakes races, including the Belmont. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. So let's get to the stakes action. We have quite a few races to look at. Races 3 through 11. The third race, it is the Woody Stevens Stakes, presented by Nassau County Industrial Development Agency. It's a grade 1 event going for a purse $400,000, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 6 horses heading to the main track, the distance of ground of 1,400 meters, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs on the Belmont main track. 1,400 meters, 7 furlongs, main track. And I show the diagram. It just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. My top selection here, we're going to go take the number 6 horse, Cato River. We'll go 6-4-3-1 in the superfecta. 6-4-3-1 super. Top selection, 6 horse, Cato River. This 3-year-old colt by Hard Spun. Brad Cox trains. Florent Giroux gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 10th of April at Oakland, a mile and 8th in the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, and the horse finished second by 2.5 lengths there. He was with him on the front and all throughout, up until the stretch run, when he just completely hit the wall. He just couldn't keep up with the 2-turn. His worst races have come around, I think, a 2-turn. Cutting back to 7, more in his wheelhouse. I don't even think he needs to lead today. I think he can really go a long way. 2 back in the Rebel at Oakland on mile 16, 13th of March. He finished 5th by 6 in the quarter lengths there, and he really wanted to go that day, but Florent had a stranglehold on him. He just couldn't stay the trip. Like I said, his 2-turn routes are just not to his liking. But before that, where he had everything his own way in the Smarty Jones over the mile, okay, around 2 turns, but he had everything his own way. He won by 10 1/4 lengths and basically won for fun. A very easy race. And then over the 1-turn mile, Churchill, which is basically a elongated sprint and a maiden special weight, breaking the maiden by 9.5 lengths. He did everything right and more. I like him cutting back and trip back to Belmont, where he had a decent race in the fall. 4-1, let's use him. Your second likeliest winner is the 4-horse Dream Shake for Peter Urton and Flavian Pratt. Most recently in the Pat Day Mile and Derby Day, he finished second by a head, and he just couldn't get there late, but he didn't run half bad. And then before that, he ran the Santa Anita Derby, where he finished third. He just couldn't, another horse, just the 2 turns wasn't to his liking. I like him cutting back also. 5-2, let's use him. But to recount my selection for the third from Belmont, it is the Woody Stevens. As a top selection, we'll take the 6-horse Cato River. We'll give kudos to the 4-horse Dream Shake. We'll go 6-4-3-1 in the superfecta, 6-4 in the multi-race. Let's get to the fourth. Race number 4, it is the Brooklyn Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a purse $400,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 9 horses going 1 lap around Belmont's main track, which is 2,400 meters in circumference, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/2 on the Belmont main track. 2,400 meters, a mile and a half here in the Brooklyn. A race very rich in history. And it's always an exciting, fun race to watch. My top selection, we're going to go take the number 2 horse, Rise the Guy. We'll go 2-6-5-8 in the superfecta. 2-6-5-8 super. Top selection of 2 horse, Rise the Guy. This 5-year-old horse by Distorted Humor. Ian Wilkes trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 27th of April at Churchill. Mile and a half in the Isaac Murphy overnight stakes. And he finished second by 1 3/4 lengths. He was with them early on. Just couldn't keep up late. Lone Rock really just freaked that day and won for fun. He needed the race. It was his first race since October. I'm going to give him another shot here today. 2 back, he ran in the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance Marathon on British Cup Day at Keeneland, a mile 5/8 there, 6 November. He finished 14th by 5.5 lengths there from Y Poster. He just had nothing as a 9-2 second choice. Did not show up, didn't break that well, and was very lackadaisical. It just wasn't his day to win. And then prior to that, the Derby City Marathon at Churchill, mile and a half on the 1st September last year. He won by 4.5 lengths and basically held his own way on the front and all throughout. A very good run. And then before that at Ellis, mile and a quarter in the Ellis Park Kentucky Downs Turf preview stakes, whatever they called it. He finished 4th by 4.5 lengths, and he ran okay on the very wet ground, but I like him back to a mile and a half. Second off the bench, training well. Let's use him at 12-1. Second likeliest one is 6-horse Moretti. He hasn't been seen since the Birdstone last summer at Saratoga. Over the mile 3/4, he won by 1 1/4 lengths and had a dream trip, quickening up nicely. Good run. And last year, Suburban, he placed behind Taxidus, and again, he was gaining ground late. He's a horse, I think, as the distances get longer, he gets better. At 4-1, one. We'll definitely use him on the ticket off the bench. But to recap my selection for the 4th from Belmont, it is the Brooklyn. Let's take the 2-horse Rise the Guys top selection. We'll give kudos to the 6-horse Moretti, 2658 Super, 2-6 in the multi-race. Let's get to race number 5. Race number 5, it is the Acorn Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $500,000. Race for 3-year-old fillies. We have a field of 6 horses heading to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the Belmont main track. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here in the Acorn. My top selection, we're going to go take the number 6 horse here, who is Search Results. We'll go 6214 in the superfecta, 6214 super. Top selection, 6 horse Search Results. This 3 followed by Flatter. Chad Brown trains. Ortiz Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 30th of April at Churchill, mile and the 8th in the Kentucky Oaks, and this horse ran a very game race behind the winner Malfat. She finished second by a neck. She stalked all the way around from a little bit of a wide posture, fought a good race, just couldn't get there, but there was nothing bad about that run, and it was a very exciting run. Coming here back to a mile, coming to Belmont, she really should run a good race. 2 back in the Gazelle at Aqueduct, mile late April the 3rd. She won by 2 3/4 lengths. She stalked all the way around the race course. When she got the lead, she got the job done very, very easily. And then before then, the Busher over a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct on the 6th of March. She won by a half length, again from his tracking position, and that was a very good run. She's run 4 races, and she's been improving a lot with all 4 races. Cutting back in trip, trained very well. Very good, deservingly even money favorite, so let's use her here as a single in the multis. So to recap my selection for the 5th from Belmont, it is the Grade 1 Acorn. Let's take the 6-horse Search Results. We'll go 6214 in the superfecta. Let's get to the 6 now. The 6th race from Belmont, it is the Jaipur Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $400,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a very good field of 12 horses entered. Keep in mind the 7 is an MTO, so 11 will head to the inner turf course. The distance of the ground of 1,200 meters, if you want to go by that, or the 6 furlong trip on the Belmont inner turf course. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs here in the Jaipur. My top selection, we're going to go take the number 9 horse. The number 9 horse, Olasandra. We'll go 9-6. 212 in the superfecta, 96212 super. Top selection, 9 horse Olasandra. This 7-year-old mare by Animal Kingdom. Neil Drysdale trains. Joe Bravo gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the unbridled Sydney at Churchill, 5.5 furlongs, the 29th of April. First off the refreshing, she finished 5th by 5.5 lengths and was stupidly wide. Was gaining ground late, but I think she needed the race off the bench. But she showed some hidden form. Coming here back to Belmont, where she's run very well in the past, I think with a pace meltdown, the race is going to sit up towards her today. 2 back, she ran the Wishing Well at Santa Anita, 6.5 furlongs, the 15th of February. And she finished second by 2.5 lengths. She sat back early, a little bit wide, but she was closing up well late. It was definitely an improvement off the race before, which came in the La Cienega at Santa Anita, 6 furlongs, 9th of January. She lost all chances because she clipped heels and lost Joel Rosario right leaving the chute that day. What can you do? She just couldn't, it wasn't her her fault there. It was a DQ of the other horse that caused it. And then before then, the Bruce Cup Turf Sprint at Keelan, 5.5 furlongs in October, off of a very long refreshing, finished 9th by 5 lengths, and she didn't break that well, was stupidly wide, and just never got into it. I don't think she was 100% cranked there. And then prior to that, in last year's Jaipur at Belmont, 6 furlongs on the 20th of June, on a lightning fast turf course, she won by a neck, really closing up well. A very, very good race after even a horrible beginning. She ran her race of her life there at 101 Buyer, and then a month prior in the Monrovia, finishing second by a half length, really closing up well again after not the best beginnings. She does well second off benches. First off the bench like last time, she needed the race, but coming here second off the bench, not as lightning fast turf course as you saw last season here in the Jaipur, but I think she should get a good trip. 15 to 1, let's use her. Your second likeliest one is 6 horse, Bound for Nowhere. Wouldn't surprise me if this horse steals it on the front end for Joel Rosario. Most recently in the Shakertown and Keelan over the 5.5 furlongs, the horse went by a nose and basically just closed up from nowhere that day from a horrible beginning. And they changed the tactics, and this horse just won for fun. But before then, the Shakertown in 2020, run in July, he finished 3rd by a neck. He was on the front end all throughout, and then he got caught. Off the bench, he needed the race there, and then before then, San Simonian, he finished second by head. Again, he didn't break that well, and I think that cost him late because he only lost by a small fraction. But he looks like the speed of the speed, and like I said, at 2 to 1, it wouldn't surprise me if he steals it on the front end if he breaks, not like last time out. And also keep an eye out for the Number 2 horse Consecrate, cutting back in trip. If there's going to be a closer winning, it could be him. His most recent race in Elusive Quality back in April was very nicely run, and I thought his Tropical Turf was a very nice place there. Cutting back in trip at 8-1, watch out for him late. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Belmont, it is the Grade 1 Jaipur, very exciting Jaipur this season. Let's take the 9 horse Alessandra. We'll give kudos to the 6 horse Bound for Nowhere and the 2 horse Consecrate, 96212 Super, 962 and the multi-race. Let's get to the 7th. Race number 7 from Belmont. It is the Ogden Phipps Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $500,000. Race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds, then upwards. We have a field of 7 horses going to the main track. The distance of ground is 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the Belmont main track. 1,700 meters, 1 mile 16th here in the Ogden Phipps. My top selection, I'm going to go take the number 1 horse, Swiss Skydiver. We'll go 1753 in the superfecta, 1753 super. Top selection, 1 horse, Swiss Skydiver. This 4-year filly by Daredevil. Kenneth McPeak trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Apple Blossom Handicap at Oakland on mile 16th on the 17th of April. The horse just did not fire. She finished 3rd by 6.5 lengths there, and she didn't break that well, and she just never showed up. Off the bench here, coming to Belmont, a 1-turn mile 16th. I think she's in a lot better race, and I think she could prove herself that she's the old lady and she can win today. 2 back in the Beholder Mile at Santino, 1 mile and 13th of March. A race she probably wasn't 100% cranked up for, but she stuck. She got the lead, quickened up nicely, winning by 2 3/4 lengths, earning a 1-1 buyer. That was a very good run. And then before that, in the Brews Cup Distaff at Keelan, a mile and 8th in November. I think the end of a very tough campaign got to her. She finished 7 by 8 1/4 lengths. She didn't break that well and completely hit the wall. Like I said, after that very tough race in the Preakness, I think it took a lot out of her. The old lady had a very good season last year. Other than that, before that, she beat the boys in the Preakness, going a mile 3/16, running the race for life, winning by a neck, beating the Derby winner Authentic. That was one of the most exciting races of 2020, and she just won for fun there. And then before that, the Kentucky Oaks, she placed that day behind She's the Daredevil, who just outgamed this horse, but she really got down well late there. And then before then, in the Alabama, her second best race 2020, she won again for fun over the 1.25 miles. I like her a lot, cutting back and trip, training well at Churchill. 5-2, let's use her. Your second likeliest winner here will be the 7 horse Bonnie South. 10-1 here for Joel Rosario and Brad Cox. Most recently in the Double Dog Dare at Keelan over the mile 16th. The horse won by head, closing up well. That was a very good run. And then before then, the Fall Cities last season at Churchill, she really ran a good place behind Avantante that day. There was nothing bad about that race. If there's going to be a pace meltdown, come from behind at 10-1, I think this horse can get the job done. So we'll use her in the late pick 5. But to recount my selection for the 7 from Belmont, it is the Grade 1 Ogden Phipps. We'll use the 1 horse Swiss Skydiver. We'll give kudos to the 7 horse Bonnie South. 1753 super, 1-7 in the multi-race. Let's get to the beginning of the late all-stakes pick 4 from Belmont, race number 8. The 8th race from Belmont, it is the Just a Game Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $500,000. Race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 12 horses heading to the Widener Turf Course. The distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile, the Belmont Widener Turf Course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile in the Just a Game. My top selection, we're going to go take the number 6 horse here, Pocket Square. We'll go 6-10-9-1 in the superfecta, 6-10-9-1 super. Top selection, 6 horse, Pocket Square. This 4-year filly by Night of Thunder. Chad Brown trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 7th of April, Keelan, a mile 16th in the Lounge race, 62,000. The horse won by 2 1/4 lengths there, and he basically did everything right from a wide poster. He sat back early, a little bit wide, but he got the job quickening up nicely. Very good race second, start stateside. Coming here, very tough horses, shouldn't be a problem. I think the running style should suit this turf course and suit this race very well. 2 back, the horse ran the 9th of July at York in England, a mile 5/16 in the Group 3 Mizadora Stakes, and she finished 6 by 6 1/4 lengths, and she never got into it. She was very lackadaisical. First off, the long refreshing. I think the race was just not the right race for her there. And then prior to that, in the Group 3 Prix de Reservoirs at Deauville, October 2019, very sludgy, heavy turf course, over the mile trip, winning by 1 1.5 lengths. She basically did everything close to the front end. She's a versatile horse. In her 2-year-old campaign, she was sitting closer, and then towards the and then last season in the Musador, she sat back, and then last time out sat back in the Keeneland race. So, but if they want to go towards the front end, they can win with that also. At 5-1, training well off the second off the bench. Let's use her here. Your second likeliest winner, I think, is the 10 horse, Tamer here for Chad Brown. Most recently, the Jenny Wiley. This horse closed up from nowhere to get second behind Juliet Foxtrot on the very sludgy going. She really ran a good race there off the bench. And then before that, the Matriarch, where she just had a little bit of a trouble trip, I think that cost her. Those Del Mar races, you either have a good trip or you don't. She just did not there. And then her North America debut in the Sands Point last season on this turf course over the mile, winning by 2 lengths. That was a very good run. A little given the ground should suit her well. 6-1 off of some very good workouts. Let's choose her on the late pick 4 ticket. But to recap my selection for the 8th from Belmont, it is the grade 1 just the game. We're going to take the 6 horse Pocket Square as a top selection. We'll give kudos to the 10 horse Tama here. 6-10-9-1 Super. 6-10 in the multi race. Late pick 4. Let's get to the 9th race now from Belmont. Race number 9 from Belmont. It is the Metropolitan Handicap, the Met Mile. It's a grade 1 event going for a purse of $1 million. Races for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 6 horses going to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile, the Belmont main track. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here in the Met Mile. My top selection here, I'm going to go take the number 5 horse, Be My Standards. We'll go 5-6-2-1 in the superfecta. 5-6-2-1 super. Top selection of 5 horse, Be My Standards. This 5-year-old horse by Golden Sense. Brett Calhoun trains. Gabriel Saez gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Oaklawn Mile at Oaklawn. 1 mile the 10th of April. And the horse won by a nose. And he sat back early, a little bit wide, but he got the job done. It was a gritty performance. Probably wasn't 100% cranked, but he got the job done. 2 back, he ran in the Clark Handicap at Churchill, mile 8th on the 27th of November, and he finished 7 by 7 3/4 lengths there, and he was very wide that day, never had a clear trip, and also I just think the trip was just not to his liking. Cutting back really would suited him well there, and then prior to that, 1.25 at Keeneland in the Breeze Cup Classic, he finished 8th by 14 lengths there. He didn't break that well, and he just was never into it, and especially off the bench there. But before then, the Alice Sheba at Churchill last September over the mile 16th, winning by 1 3/4 lengths, a dream track position. He won very nicely. And then prior to that in the Whitney, he placed behind Improbable. Improbable went very, very nicely there. But this horse really ran a good race even after a horrible beginning. A little bit wide, but was gaining ground late. And then before that, the Stephen Foster. Nobody was cashing Tom's Détente. But this horse ran a good race behind him there. But that early 2020 campaign for this horse was incredible. Starting off with the Fairgrounds allowance race victory, coming back to the next race where he won the New Orleans Classic very nicely, and then finally winning the Oaklawn Handicap by 1 3/4 lengths, earning a 102 buyer from a stupidly wide post draw. He ran a terrific race there. He's trading well, second off the bench, 10-1, a very tactical horse. Doesn't need the lead, but he can have it. Let's use him here on the ticket. Your second likeliest winner here is the 6 horse, Nick Go. This 5-year-old horse by Painter. Most recently decided Cup, he just ran a clunker. He finished 4th by 8.5 lengths, and he just completely hit the wall. Mashirif just won very nicely, then went on to win next start on the Shima Classic over the mile and a half on the turf at Dubai. Freak performance in both those races, but this horse just wasn't getting into it. But before that, he won the Pegasus World Cup on the front end very, very easily, and then before that, the Breeze Cup Dirt Mile. First time facing grade 1 quality horses, he put on a show, winning basically. The definition is for fun was that British Cup Dirt Mile. He absolutely destroyed the field there. He's training well. Big question is first off the bench. He can win off the buyer number, so we'll use him on the late pick 4 ticket. But to recap my selection for the 9th from Belmont, it is the Met Mile. Let's take the 5 horse, Be My Standards. Give kudos to the 6 horse, Knicks Go. 5-6-2-1 super. 5-6 in the multi race to race number 10. Race number 10 from Belmont. It is the Manhattan Stakes. It's a grade 1 event going for a purse of $750,000. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses heading to the inner turf course. The distance of ground of 2,000 meters, or the distance of ground of 1.25 miles on the Belmont inner turf course. 2,000 meters, 1.25 miles. My top selection here in the Manhattan, I'm going to go take the number 10 horse, Colonel Liam. We'll go 10-4-7-5 in the superfecta, 10-4-7-5 super. Top selection, 10 horse, Colonel Liam. This 4-year-old colt by Liam's map, Tom Pletcher trains. Iratees Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in the Turf Classic at Churchill, mile 8 the 1st of May, winning by a neck there. He basically stalked all the way around the race course, got the lead, and fought a good race home with domestic spending, and he got there with domestic spending, and they dead heated. A very good, exciting race. Derby weekend this year, you saw some very exciting races with the Turf Classic and that Oaks race the day before. But this horse, ran his heart out there, earning a 100 buyer. Two back in the Muniz Memorial race that's been always great and has been coming even better last few seasons at the fairgrounds. On the 20th of March, he won by 1.5 lengths, and again stalked all the way around the race course. He got the lead, and he won very easily, 70 cents a dollar. That was a very good race there. And then before then, the Pegasus World Cup at Gulfstream, a mile 3/16, 23rd January, winning by a neck. He sat back early, slowly moved his way up, and he got the job done. A very good run. They think highly of this horse because they only bought him for $1.2 million. They got the return on the investment already, so he's done very well since then. His real campaign, they tried him on dirt where he ran okay, not great, but okay. But when they took him to turf, he really showed some different better performances. Even that loss in the Saratoga Derby, he really, ran decently, closing up well late after a horrible beginning. Came back to win the Tropical Derby at Gulfstream right after Christmas very easily. 5-2, he's been on the up and up. Mile and a quarter shouldn't be bad for him. Let's use him here. Domestic spending is your second likeliest winner also. Fabian Prance on this one. Biggest question with him is this turf course, the inner turf course at Belmont, is not a deep closers kind of turf course. It's a speed favoring front runners turf course. So he might have a little trouble from the back of the pack. But before, most recently, the Turf Classic, winning by a neck, probably wasn't 100% cranked, but he got the job done there. And then before then, the Hollywood Derby, closing up from nowhere on a very tight, quirky turf course. Again, he won nicely. And then that Saratoga Derby, beating Gufo and Colonel Liam, he ran a terrific race. He has one running style that's coming from behind. Like I said, this turf course doesn't always play towards it, but he's a great horse, really on the up and up. At 3-1, let's use him on the ticket. And also, don't throw out the 7-horse Channel Cat, the veteran here for Jack Sisterston, and Johnny V getting the mount. Most recently in the Manor, where he won by a nose, basically on the front and all throughout. A very good race there. And then placed before that in the Elkhorn. Likes this turf course. It could sit closer. 12-1, don't throw out the old man. But to recap my selection for the 10th from Belmont, it is the Grade 1 Manhattan. As a top selection, we'll take the 10-horse Colonel Liam. We'll give kudos to the 4-horse Domestic Spending and the 7-horse Channel Cat. We'll go 10-4-7-5 Super, 10-4-7 in the multi-race. Let's get to the featured 11th race now from Belmont Park. The featured 11th race from Belmont, it is the Belmont Stakes. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $1.5 million, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 8 horses heading to Belmont's main track. The distance of ground is 2,400 meters, or 1 lap around the Belmont main track, which is 1 mile and 1/2 in circumference. 2,400 meters, a mile and a half, the test of champions. My top selection here, I absolutely love Known Agenda. We'll go 6-2-8-4 in the superfecta. 6-2-8-4 super. Top selection, 6-horse Known Agenda. This 3-year-old colt by Curlin. Tom Pletcher trains. Iratees Jr. gets the mount 6-1 here. His most recent outing came in the Kentucky Derby at Churchill, the 1st of May, over the mile and a quarter trip. He finished 9th by 10 1/4 lengths there. He just really, I don't think he was comfortable on the inside. He got out a little bit of a turn of foot late, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Coming here, a mile and a half, which I think he's bred through and through, I think he can slowly move his way up and really run a good race. 2 back in the Florida Derby at Gulfstream, a mile and 1/8 on 27th of March. He won by 2 3/4 lengths, sitting back early, a little bit wide, but when he got the lead, he drifted a little bit late, but he got the job done. A very, very good race there. And then before that, he ran a confidence builder race at Gulfstream, mile and 1/8 the 26th of March, 26th of February, and off 75, winning by 11. He sat back early, got the lead at the top lane, and just kept going. He needed that race for the confidence builder, because the race before in the Sam F. Davis, on that quirky Tampa main track, a mile 16th there. He finished fifth by 4.5 lengths there, and he just never was really comfortable. You either handle that track or you don't. He just wasn't handling it there. And then prior to that, in the Remsen at Aqueduct, mile 8th on slop, he finished third by 9 lengths. Didn't break that well. Also, the sloppy track got to him, but he's done everything right other than that Tampa race and the Remsen race. Even the Derby, he had some upsides. Really recovering late to get that ninth place finish. He's training well. He's bred for the mile and a half. 6-1. I like him a lot. Top Hutch has a very good record with those horses skipping the Preakness out of the Derby and always running good in the Belmont. 6-1. Let's use this horse. Your second likeliest winner is a 2-horse Essential Quality. The 3-year-old Colt by Tappet. Brad Cox trains. Louis says gets on this one for Godolphin. Most recently in the Derby, he finished fourth by a length, and he just couldn't keep up late. He didn't break that well that day, and I think that cost him. Settling down here today over the mile and a half should really suit him well. Two back in the Bluegrass, he won by an next inning, a little closer than he normally does. He settles well, and again, he got the job done there, and then winning the Southwest easily, and then his 2-year-old campaign was pretty easy there. 2-1. That's the only thing that sucks about him, but he can win on paper. And also, the 8-horse Overtook, $1 million purchase for Rapoli Stable in St. Elias and the Coolmore Group. He should definitely get this mile and a half trip. Most recently in the Peter Pan, he ran a decent third place finish. I think the trip was just a little bit too short for him there. And also off the bench, he probably needed the race. But a mile and a half second off the bench, blinkers on Sing, a little closer. I think he really run a good race. His Withers wasn't a bad race at all, where he was really closing up well late. He's another horse at 20-1. I think he'd get the trip. We'll use him on the multis to blow it up. But to recount my selection now for the 11th from Belmont, it is the Grade 1 $1.5 million Belmont Stakes. As a top selection, we'll take the 6-horse Known Agenda. We'll give kudos to the 2-horse Essential Quality and the 8-horse Overtook. We'll go 6-2-8-4 Super, 6-2-8 in the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingCat5. Good luck, everybody.